Alright guys, it's been 3 months. 3 months of Paper Mario the Origami King, and I'm telling you guys, everywhere I go, people are asking me, is it as good as it was in the glory days when we had Paper Mario 64 and Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door? So in today's video, all I'm going to be doing is answering that question. Let's get into it. Jumping right into it, one of the bigger problems with the previous two entries in the series, Sticker Star and Color Splash, was the lack of a deeper story arc. And this makes complete sense because after playing through the epic adventure of collecting magical gems to seal away a 1,000-year-old spirit in the Thousand Year Door, to the tragic love story of two star-crossed lovers in Super Paper Mario, only to then have the story stripped all the way back down to Bowser is being mean again, was a bit of a letdown to say the least. So how does the Origami King story stack up to its predecessors? Well, the Origami King story centers on Ollie, the Origami King, and his sister, Olivia, two origami siblings who hold opposing worldviews. Ollie wants to fold everyone in the paper world into origami to fit his artistic vision for a perfect origami kingdom, and Olivia basically thinks that's genocide, which it is. To accomplish his goal, Ollie folds Princess Peach into a creepy, deranged origami version of herself, hijacks her castle, wraps it in 5 colored streamers which transmit his energy to different regions of the land, and seizes control of the flat paper world with his army of folded soldiers, all led by the most menacing gang of office supplies you've ever met, the Legion of Stationery. To stop her evil brother, Olivia joins forces with Mario to travel the land and destroy a bunch of office supplies, destroy the streamers that Ollie is using to keep control over the 5 regions, and ultimately stop Ollie from achieving total domination in his quest to erase the flat paper population. And the writers make it clear from the beginning that they won't be committing the same Bowser-centric story sin that they did in the past few games by showing Bowser and his minions get completely demolished by Ollie's folded soldiers. When you see Bowser folded into basically a paper football, any possibility that he could be the true bad guy in this story is thankfully thrown right out the window. Even just from the first 15 minutes of playing this game, it is clear that the story takes massive leaps in the right direction, and it continues to live up to that caliber as you play through the rest of the game. I would definitely say, in a story sense, the Origami King is certainly a return to form. Another part of what made Paper Mario 64 and the Thousand Year Door so enjoyable was not only their engaging overall story arcs, but the smaller stories and moments you had to play through in each chapter along the way to accomplish the goals of the larger arc. Every Paper Mario fan has fond memories of moments like diving into Shy Guy's toy box for the first time, or traversing through the Crystal Palace, or boarding Cortez's ghost ship to battle the X-Nauts at sea, or battling Rock Hawk for the first time after rising through the ranks in the Glitz Pit, or even loading into a giant cannon and blasting off to the moon to storm the X-Nauts base. I mean, this list could go on and on and on. But to say that the Origami King is a return to form is to say that it lives up to these iconic experiences. And the thing is, a lot of us older players have to look at it without being blinded by our nostalgia for the older games in moments like these. For many players, those memories will probably never truly be matched by a newer experience. But I'm here to say that there are definitely moments in the Origami King that I think will leave a lasting impact on plenty of players. Moments like the action sequence of escaping Peach's castle at the beginning of the game, or riding down the Eddy River Rapids, or gathering an army of faceless toads to lure the pyramid boss out into a disco party. How many tries did it take you to get a perfect game on Shy Guys Finish Last? Took me 6. And even rallying Bowser's minions to take back their castle from the folded soldiers. I mean, these are all really great indicators that the series is heading back in the right direction. These are some really great moments. And then there's Bobby, our dear, sweet, innocent Bobby. He gave his life for the greater good and made us all cry in the process. Nintendo, they got us to care so deeply about a generic-looking Bob-omb. This speaks even further to the strength of the writing in this game, and it tugs at some emotional strings that haven't been tugged on for me since Bobbery's origin story in the Thousand Year Door. And even Bobby's character arc alone adds thematic depth to the story, since Bobby is a Bob-omb who would normally have a short lifespan. Joining Mario on his journey exposes him to so many things in the world that he wouldn't have seen otherwise. Bobby is Nintendo's reminder to its players that life is short, so you may as well seize every opportunity to experience as many beautiful things as you possibly can. Bobby didn't deserve what happened to him, but he died a hero's death, and from that point on in the game, I felt that everything I did was to avenge Bobby. Speaking of Bobby brings me to the partner system in this game, and this is one aspect of the game that I'll touch on that I really don't feel like is the true return to form that fans were hoping for. Of course, you remember that in Paper Mario 64 and the Thousand Year Door, once a partner joined your party, they were permanently in the group. You had to utilize their unique abilities to solve puzzles and advance in the overworld. You also always had their unique movesets at your disposal in battle. On the other hand, in the Origami King, partners only tag along for the portion of the story for which they are relevant, and then after you finish their portion of the story, you essentially lose them forever. The only one you can keep is Professor Toad, but only if you go back to visit the desert. Captain Toad is also the only partner who has an overworld ability. He digs items and coins up in the desert for you. He's the closest we get to a traditional partner, yet he's restricted to one area of the game. In battle, we don't really have control over the partners either, but they will help clean up our mess if we fail to clear the board in one turn. But sometimes your partners will choke under pressure, as you can see in this clip where Bobby faceplants, blows the battle, and proves why he was incapable of lasting until the end of the game. None of this is to say that I dislike the partners in the Origami King. I actually think they're great characters with unique personalities that generally make positive contributions to the story. But when it comes to their functionality gameplay-wise, there's still a bit of a departure from the original partner system. Although the partner system is much better than what we got in Sticker Star and Color Splash, where we really didn't get one at all, there will be people who are still ultimately dissatisfied with this approach, as it isn't truly a return to the old style. Let's talk about the battle system, and by no means is this anything remotely close to a return to form, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Strategic RPG style combat is scrapped in this outing for a puzzle-based approach where your success in battle harps more on your ability to solve a circular puzzle than your ability to master the strategic interworkings of an RPG system. The puzzle starts all scrambled up with the enemies spread across the circle, and you have a limited number of moves to slide and turn the pieces of the circle to either line the enemies up for a jump attack or cluster them together for a hammer attack. Perfectly lining up all of the enemies results in an attack power boost, and more often than not lets you end the fight in a single turn. If you fail to line everyone up perfectly, then you won't be able to defeat them in one turn, unless of course your partner saves the day like I mentioned before. But if not, then the folded soldiers will get a chance to attack you. Some of the puzzle lineups can actually be pretty difficult, but if you get really stumped, then you can just pay the toads in the audience 999 coins to solve the puzzle for you, which you're pretty much always going to have money for. And that's one of my biggest complaints about the game, is the amount of times the game gives you an easy out when you're trying to solve a puzzle, not just in the battles, but also in the overworld. There's literally puzzles where if you fail once or twice, the game just gives you the answer. Like in the Ice Velumental Temple, when I had to figure out which ice cubes to break to advance through the level, I failed literally twice before the game threw the answer at me. Like, I mean, come on, I know it's a children's game, but I was getting close. And also in the Water Velumental Temple, if you can't solve the square puzzle, you can literally pay for the answer and the game pays you back right away. Again, I understand that some of the players are younger and they need those options, but they should maybe give you the option of playing the game on a harder difficulty from the get-go. By no means does this ruin the experience, but it definitely made me feel like an idiot at certain points of the game. Anyway, back to the battle system. One weird thing about the battles is that you don't really know how much HP the enemies have. You just kind of attack them with your different kinds of hammers and boots, a damage amount pops up, and you hope for the best. It's like they're trying to fix the no quantitative attack damage problem from Color Splash, but bungled it even worse by not telling us how much HP the enemies have. Sure, we can clearly see our own attack power, which is nice, but how much does it really mean if we don't know how strong the enemies are too? The Thousand Year Door in Paper Mario 64, they had the whole tattle system where every enemy had such clearly defined stats, which was nice, and it added a nice strategic element to the battles, and I think that would have been nice here. Also, they tried to bring us back to the badge system in a way, with the different equipable weapons and accessories, and it is kinda cool on its own, but it really doesn't add much strategic variation to the game like the badge system did. The badge and level up system is what made the Thousand Year Door in Paper Mario 64 so replayable. Every time you play one of those games, you can have a different experience because of the decisions you make about what stats to level up or what badges to equip. You can even self-impose tough challenges on yourself, like the 10 HP challenge I tried on my last playthrough. But wait, there's more about the battle system because boss battles are actually different than the regular overworld battles, with the positioning flipped so that Mario is on the outside of the circle and the boss is in the center. You still have to arrange the circle to attack the boss, but you have to arrange a path towards the middle using arrows on the panels, and then you have to land yourself on the proper attack space. Each boss has unique gimmicks that require different approaches to damage them. I actually really enjoyed the boss battles. They weren't all that easy. I actually game overed a few times on them, and they forced you to think in a different way that the regular battles didn't. I will admit, I do prefer the old Thousand Year Door battle system, and I do hope that one day we get something a little closer to it. But I did not hate this battle system in the same way that I did the Color Splash and Sticker Star battle system. So that is definitely a step in the right direction, but I can't really call it a return to form because it obviously isn't that. Finally, I want to talk about the different worlds that you visit throughout your journey, and by God are they gorgeous. From the lush green hills of Picnic Road to the fall foliage of Autumn Mountain to the glitz and glamour of Sniff City, the environments in the Origami King are simply stunning. Another big plus in this game is that the entire world is connected again, just like it was in the Thousand Year Door and Paper Mario 64. Gone are the days of a boring overworld map that just makes the game feel lifeless. Every section does still have its own collectibles, and in order to 100% the game, you have to fill in every bottomless pit, rescue every origami toad, hit every hidden block, and find every single collectible treasure in every single area. The game helps you track your progress by telling you the exact percentage of your progress on each of these tasks in every area. If you have way too much time on your hands and you're a completionist like I am, then you're going to enjoy going back through the game to complete the 100% collectathon. And even if this isn't your kind of thing, completing the game 100% actually adds a cutscene to the conclusion of the game that just makes the story feel a little bit more complete. So I would definitely recommend 100%ing the game if you have the patience and time to do so. And one last thing I want to touch on before we wrap this video up is the dialogue. The dialogue in this game is probably one of my favorite parts. Every town I visited, I made sure to talk to every single character because I just enjoyed reading what they had to say that much. Having such well-written dialogue makes the world feel much more lived in and really adds to the charm of the overall experience. The hilarious NPCs combined with the beautiful scenery is really the icing on the cake that brings the whole experience together. So to wrap things up and definitively give you my answer to the question of whether this game is a true return to form, I would have to give you a cop-out answer and say that in some ways yes, and in some ways no. I don't expect every hardcore fan of the original Paper Mario series to love this game. I mean, the battle system is just too different, and for a lot of fans, that kind of is the bread and butter of the game. But there are enough elements that do resemble the old games, like world exploration and more engaging storyline, so I can't really say that they didn't at least try to bring back some of the good stuff. And all in all, what they did come up with is a fun, charming experience that I would recommend to any Nintendo Switch owner. And while it may not completely go back to the golden age of Paper Mario, I think this is a big step in the right direction after what we got with Sticker Star and Color Splash. And that's all I have to say about that. Question of the day for you guys: what did you think of Paper Mario the Origami King? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked what you saw in this video, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you back here next time.